All aboard! Next stop, Chicago Junction.
And welcome. It's that time again for Chicago Junction, the radio program. It's all about the amazing world of railroading, both real and model. I'm your announcer, Brian Ballou, and here is our boss, the head of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, and the chief electrical engineer, Mr. John DeVita.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Chicago Junction from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Monday, February the 12th, the year 2018. Today the panel will be talking about railroads and model railroads. And now to start today's broadcast, here's our announcer, Brian.
Oh, thank you, John, and welcome back, people. I am Brian Ballou. I am also one of the panel members. I am retired Navy. I belong to some various railroad museums in California and in Pennsylvania, and belong to the Chicago chapter NRHS, director with them. Belong to the Chicago Area Garden Railway Society, and I also play with Lionel Trains, and volunteer out at the Chicago Botanic Garden in their model railroad. So I kind of like trains. And to my left, I have
Dave DeRuska, retired locomotive engineer, blogger, my Chicago Railroad History blog, player with railroads, and I am a board member and the program director for the Blackhawk chapter of the National Railway Historical Society. I run our Facebook page, and my latest project is trying to get the Chicago City Council to declare a month Chicago Railroad History Month, and I will talk about that a little later.
Oh, very good.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Barry. I'm a retired Chicago police sergeant, a lifelong Lionel enthusiast, collector, and operator. I'm a director with the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club, located in New Lenox, Illinois. And like Brian, I play with Lionel Trains.
It is so much fun. Anyway, before we go on, I want to make note that the opinions you hear expressed at this table does not naturally coincide with the management, so don't blame them for what we say. Do bring your complaints to us. There's a website around somewhere.
Well, we got our Facebook page.
Yeah, and you go to Chicago Junction Facebook page. That is correct.
Yeah, you can complain all you want there. I'll ignore you.
We have a new hobby shop in the Chicagoland area that caters to trains and railroads. It's called the Choo Choo Works. They're in Frankfort, Illinois. 9555 West Lincoln Highway. They have predominantly Lionel, but they do have HO and some G gauge. Their official grand opening was on Monday, the 5th of February at 4:15 in the afternoon. His Eminence, the Mayor of Frankfort, was there to cut the ribbon.
I take it you were at the opening.
No, sir. No, I was I was at home with my my wife. Things are a little crazy around the house. Her mom hasn't been feeling well, so she's been spending a couple of days each week with her mom. So on the days that we can be home together, we try to be. Sometimes I have to behave like a husband's expected to behave.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ash Wednesday.
And speaking of Valentine's Day, I'm doing a presentation for the 20th Century Club on Valentine's Day, and boy, did I catch hell for that. I didn't know it was Valentine's Day when I agreed to do this. I didn't know, really. I do love you.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I got some news.
you want to start off with some news?
Yeah.
All right.
EMD could end engine production at LaGrange. The parent of Progress Rail Services is eyeing a move of the new facility on the East Coast out of its historic there could be as many 600 jobs. I think they're going to move it out to the East Coast. They currently assemble locomotives in Muncie, Indiana. They're part of Caterpillar. Bought EMD, and the Progress Rail Services is their railroad division. It's part of an ongoing restructuring of Caterpillar. And McCook, Illinois, which is in LaGrange, where this is where the factory is, opened in opened after 1922. And let's see what else it says here. This is Caterpillar negotiated a package of incentives with Winston-Salem and Forsyth County in 2016 as part of the restructuring of their actual manufacturing plant, which has been switched from mining trucks to the rail business. And incentives call for Caterpillar to employ as few as 200 people. So they're considering moving the engine production out of LaGrange, although the office and design departments will still stay there. So LaGrange has gone from a mighty manufacturing facility to nothingness.
That's a shame. They used to do all the testing there.
Yeah.
Even when they were had most of the production up in Canada.
Right. So that's the story there, and another tourist railroad is under the threat of the Trail People. They should make a horror movie that the Trail People. Port of Tillamook Bay is signing their rights over to the Trail People. I guess there's a tourist railroad out there.
Yeah. Comes off the old SP line.
Right, and of course the Trail People just cannot live. They cannot coexist with railroads, with tourist railroads. They can't have their paths next to the train tracks. They have to take the train tracks out to make the Trail People happy. So there's all kinds of legal stuff going on out there right now.
So they're trying to follow like New York State.
Yeah. They want to take over the trail, and they want to give the railroad the heave-ho.
Speaking of which, there's one of the museums on that property. They're rebuilding a Mallet, a 2442, and they just recently had to rebuild the whole tank tender, and they just put it back together. So they're starting to work on the interior of the boiler now.
Yeah, it seems that the Trail People are trying to take over the lease that the OCSR uses. What is the OCSR? I threw out the top page, so I don't have that.
It's coastal.
Oregon Coastal.
Yeah, they call themselves OCSR through this whole thing, but they don't really say, give their full name. Anyways, they're under threat. It seems like a lot of the tourist lines are under threat by the trail people. They've prostituted the rails to trail movement into the take rails and trails instead of rails movement, and a lot of tourist lines are feeling the heat from these people. And I think that's it for news from me.
Oh, Rick.
Short but sweet.
And I guess, railroads have been in the news, and it's not been good news.
No.
I have the pleasure of doing Operation Lifesaver, trying to make people aware of safety around the railroads. And we've noticed in the past month there's been a lot of bad publicity because a lot of bad things happening. And try as you might, the majority of it's human error. South Carolinas, in Florida, even in our area in Chicago that we usually try to stay around. People racing trains.
Yeah, on that topic, I actually wrote an article for the local Beverly paper, not the Beverly Area Planning Association in my neighborhood publishes a paper, and I wrote a article about safety around the tracks because a lot of people don't really understand. In fact, today I was driving home down 111th Street, and here some woman was sitting in traffic, dead center on a crossing. Nowhere to go, couldn't back up, couldn't go forward. What happens when the gates come down? My recommendation was get out of your car now. Don't even try to get out of the way. Just get out of the car and run.
That's it.
But don't get on the tracks to begin with. Do not. If you're in traffic and you get up to railroad tracks, there's nothing wrong with stopping short and waiting to see if there's enough space on the other side of the tracks for your car to fit. Don't put yourself in a dangerous position.
And for those that listen that receive some of the magazines, the new issue of Trains magazine has actually a nice story in it on how to prevent death by train, and the story centers around Chicago.
Right. Illinois is the third highest in railroad fatalities after California and Texas?
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highest, but they are coming down. The majority of our we're 70%, less than 70% in having protected crossings. But like the one state they had said that's higher than us, if you look at the number of crossings that we have done, they're more than what the state that's higher percentages.
Right.
And that'd be Texas.
I don't know if Metro had an enforcement program going this morning or not, but I did notice a Metro police car at 95th and just immediately east of Vincennes at the grade crossing. I don't know if that was for pedestrians crossing the tracks or vehicles running the gates.
They will sit there and catch
Yeah, they
people.
will. They will try to,
It's like the speed trap thing,
Yeah.
There was
If people are running late, there could be 4 officers in marked vehicles and 6 officers on foot, and someone would still try to cross once the gates are down.
Right. That's something I mentioned too. It's like once the lights start flashing, you have no business.
Yeah.
You become a trespasser.
It's like the warning lights go on and the brain immediately disengages.
Pavlov.
Well, I saw while we were doing station blitzes are called, when the volunteers from Operation Lifesaver and such, they're out at stations handing out pamphlets. They one of the main photographs at the beginning of the article is doing a station blitz at the Glencoe station, which is funny because that's where the Botanic Garden is, and that's where I was Monday morning when they were doing that. And and we had actually had a table set up at the Botanic Garden in the Garden Railroad for national, because it was the start of National Rail Safety Week. But you know, I've seen them right in front of the cops just run out to catch their morning train in. Nothing is going to stop them from getting in, and because they have a set schedule. And they start cursing the police out for keeping them from catching the train,
Right. Yeah.
making them late for their coffee.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I just got a page on my pager. There is a major accident involving a train and a van with people trapped in the van at Grand Avenue and Neva. That's right around Grand Avenue and Harlem Avenue. I just got it just now.
That's the Milwaukee district. There you go.
I hope no one lost their life.
You know, another thing people don't realize is that if you run in front of a train, a passenger and commuter train to catch it, and the engineer says something to the crew, they can refuse you entry onto the train. They can tell you no. You wait for the next train.
Yeah, we've talking about, you know, first train I took out of McHenry and stopped at the D Road station.
Yeah.
I was my conductor, a guy by the name of Barry, and he was standing right there, and I was talking to him. And all of a sudden, this kid popped up between us. He had crawled under the train and came up right on the road. And he couldn't understand why Barry wouldn't let him on the train.
Yeah, quite. People don't really understand, you know, the severity of their actions. You know how it can just really turn sour quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really judge the speed of the train.
No.
And
my favorite is walking around the back end of the train, you know, to get to the parking lot, and not even thinking that there could be a train on any other track. And
especially when you're double track, you got the ghost train,
right? Or triple track in the case of the racetrack.
Oh yeah, the racetrack on the northwest
Or the
line, or the
Burlington,
BN.
the BN, and the BN. They don't hold out of stations. They just come blasting through.
That is true.
And there have been people that have found out the hard way.
And we both had incidents,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And I've had to do the police reports
Yeah.
afterwards.
Come on, let's talk about some fun things.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Let's happy topics. Happy
Yes.
time. Happy time.
Well, I recently acquired this little beauty in front of me. It's a CSX speeder, Lionel, stock number 618469. It's in the chassis colors, the blue, yellow, and orange. It's got 2 crew members and the little flasher light on the top. And it's got a strong little motor in it. It really zips around the track. You know, and it's got the big chassis kitten on each door. So I'm going to have to make sure I hide this one when I take it home, or my daughter, the school teacher, will give it a new home.
She'll abscond with it.
Because it's cute.
Oh, yes, it's so cute.
It's so cute.
But, I mean, yes, I realize it is a modern speeder, but I haven't seen one where I worked
Yeah, well,
like that.
my daughter 5 or 6 years ago looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dad, it's not Christmas if I don't get a train car with a chassis kitten on it." You know, and I can't fault her. The chassis kitten is a tremendous mascot. And you were kind enough to correct me a couple of shows back about the chassis steam special was actually a Reading T1. Lionel, I saw a Lionel T1 painted up in the chassis markings for the chassis steam special. Beautiful engine. It'll be something I lust after. I'll never have enough allowance money saved to buy it. But it's a beautiful engine.
Yes. Now, if they only put the correct front end on it.
We got a call?
I believe we have a call in, sir. Hello?
Hi, this is Bill.
Oh, okay, Bill, this is Brian. I have Dave and Kevin here with me. And I believe you're from Entertainment Junction?
That is correct. Entertainment Junction. It is just north, 25 miles north of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Just off of 75.
That is correct. You can see it from 75.
And if I remember correctly, because I have visited your place,
Oh, very nice.
you're well, the road that you turn off on goes straight over to Kings Island.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep, we're about from 75 to that to Kings Island's probably about 8 miles, I would guess, 6 to 8 miles.
So you have fun all the way around.
You can indeed, and many people do.
Let's see. Well, to enlighten the people about Entertainment Junction. You and I could probably talk for a little bit on it. But this is the largest, or one of the largest indoors between you and Miniature Wunderland. at 18,000 square feet, is it?
Well, the entire building's 80,000 square feet. The train display itself is 25,000.
25,000. See, you've added more.
Yeah, and it's like 2 miles of track, and it's very neat. It's the world's largest G scale. That's important. That's a distinguishing factor. G scale is the largest model train you can get. Each car, not each train, each car is about the size of a loaf of bread. So these are large-scale trains. And so at Entertainment Junction, what happens is you go through 3 epochs of U.S. history with the railroad. And so actually every time you go through a tunnel, you go into a new period of history. And it starts basically in the 1860s Civil War. Of course, trains played a very important part in the Civil War. And then you go into the 40s and 50s, sort of the golden age of railroading. And then the third period in history is the modern era with, diesel engines. So it's pretty neat. There's everything is hand-built by volunteers. There's probably been about 200,000 man and woman hours building this. Everything is in scale, and everything is made by hand, because what you see there does not come in a kit. So these people are building by hand based on what they get out of history books and other places. And so there's mountains and hills, rivers, canals, mining towns, coal towns, cities, other urban areas, over 100 bridges, trestles, and tunnels in the layout, all built by hand again. And the trains are, at basically eye level and in the air as high as 11 feet. And there's even a subway that's a little bit lower. So you're completely immersed in the experience.
My God. Okay, you're saying your mountains are 13 feet tall, 14 feet?
Well, some of them, there's rolling hills and there's some mountains. The whole thing has a 11-foot waterfall as a backdrop that was built, and it feeds some of the canals and lakes that you see within the layout. So it's really fascinating, and I think one thing that I really like about it is it's totally generational. In other words, every day we see grandparents who many lived through the golden age of railroading and have a fondness for it. And then, of course, young parents and young kids. There's and something in there attracts each of those demographics. The grandparents, in particular, can appreciate the handiwork that goes into everything you see, built from the ground up, all to scale, and they can spend literally hours moving along the layout and looking inside buildings, because inside buildings we have little lifelike figures, like there's an Arthur Murray studio in one of the urban scenes, and you look in the window and people are dancing, and so it's that kind of detail.
Yeah, because I remember how long has Entertainment been open?
Open the last quarter of 2008.
And I remember when I first visited, I think it was 2008, early 2009. The buildings that you did have there, you had actually basically facades.
Yeah.
And you know, to give show what's going to be there. And then as you made each building, you took the facade out and put the detailed model in.
That is correct. And all that has been done. If you haven't seen it since 2009 or whatever, you would not believe the change, what has changed. I mean, it changes on a weekly basis. I go in there, and there's something new all the time, because the volunteers are continuously working, adding, improving, enhancing.
I know, because I remember
amazing.
seeing when you hosted the hosted a party for the Garden Railway Convention.
That is correct. I remember
in
it well.
2013.
Yep. Remember it well, and of course, that's right at their sweet spot. The whole, the world's largest indoor garden railway display. So.
Oh yes, trust me, a lot of people, they were bug-eyed.
Yeah, that's good. I remember that. That was a lot of fun, actually. But we do a lot of that sort of thing. I should mention, by the way, it's kind of surprised us, I think. We've had visitors from all 50 states and 40 foreign countries. I mean, who would have thought that? Here we are, a family entertainment center 25 miles north of Cincinnati, and we've had visitors from all over the world.
Oh yeah, because one thing I noticed, you've expanded it quite well. You've got hand-powered trains for the kids.
Yep.
And you've got Thomas the Tank Engine, of course, running on 7.5-inch gauge track.
Yeah, that's right. We have those are two outdoor attractions, as you mentioned, Thomas. Little electric tank kids and their parents can ride on, and then there's a little village of hand-cranked engine that kids can operate themselves and go around the track and through the village and everything. And that's a lot of fun. We did one thing you probably haven't seen because it's decently new. So on the second level, what we've done is recreated old Coney Island amusement park, not the one in New York, but there's a Coney Island in Cincinnati.
Oh, that was on the, they were telling me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going. It's 135 years old or something, Coney Island. It was a great amusement park and still is a great amusement park. Right on the Ohio River, a lot of fun. But we recreated that. We have 17 working rides, and these aren't little small miniatures. This is all in scale as well. The famous wooden shooting star roller coaster is 17 feet long, and the Ferris wheel's 3 to 4 feet tall. So this is pretty neat. It's all interactive. There's all buttons you push, and the 17 rides will work.
Oh, so you made it interactive for the kids and everything.
That is correct. And then also for kids, there's a very big kids play area with climbing structures and more Thomas stuff and little train layouts. Again, you push buttons to make things happen. That's very popular. And then I don't think you probably even saw this at that time.
No, no. Well, I did see. Well, I did see the play area that you had. Sir, can I want to pause for a second. We have to do a station identification.
You're listening to Chicago Junction on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norge and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Monday, February the 12th, the year 2018. And now back to Chicago Junction, and here's our panel.
Okay, sir, we're back on the air. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, okay, Bill. Yeah, I noticed, I guess from what I went on the website to check you out, since it has been a few years, and I see you really got the village all decked out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one thing I like to do, as a matter of fact, is I kind of sit close to the front door, and I watch people come in. And those who have never been there before take about 2 steps in and stop, and I just see their lips. They go, "Wow!" It's like I didn't expect this, because what happens? When you walk in the front door, you immediately step into a 1930s village, with pavers and gas lights and buildings. It looks like a little village, and there's a train depot that acts as a ticket booth and so forth. So it's really neat, and we built, it's kind of Main Street village that is your entryway, really, to everything else. I may have mentioned, too, we were talking about things for children, and I don't think we had this in 2009. We have now on the other side of the building something called the Amazing Fun House. And that's really fun. It's like an old-time carnival or amusement park with 5 tents, if you will, all themed differently. One has North America's largest mirror maze, and then we have, like the old carnivals did, tilt rooms, kind of fun, different rooms that discombobulate you, mirrors, distortion mirrors, just all these type of things. There's a turning room, so it's really a lot of fun for the kids.
Ah, so you really are family entertainment center.
Very much so, yeah.
And because like you said, the children's play area, I remembered. I see you added a couple layouts to it, but I saw one thing where you have an incline you added upstairs, I guess.
Well, we're still working on that, and Cincinnati had a couple inclines from near the Ohio River that went up to Mount Adams, which is a trendy sort of spot in Cincinnati. That no longer is there or operational, but we're recreating it, and it's just ongoing. It's added to every single day. We have we have a great big expo center with a lot of different special events and attractions all year long. Specifically popular, incredibly popular, is Christmas time, as you can well imagine. People are home.
Oh, yeah.
It just naturally lends itself to that Christmas atmosphere, all decorated. And I think there's something in the American psyche that just relates trains and Christmas time. And we have an entire walkthrough at Christmas time. That's a journey to the North Pole. That is really, really cool, really neat. We have one room that snows inside, and you go by Mrs. Claus' old-fashioned kitchen. She gives the kids cookies, and then it all ends up in Santa's study where the kids can talk to Santa. So Christmas time there is unbelievable. It just lends itself so perfectly to Christmas time. And it's 72 degrees, so no matter what it is outside, in the end of November and December, inside Entertainment Junction, it's wonderful. Feels great.
I bet once they finally finish rebuilding the interior structure of CUT, and they get all the museums back in there and the Cincinnati Railroad Club in Tower A, their holiday will complement yours.
Well, that would be nice. I mean, that's good. We are fortunate, of course, to be in the area that does have Kings Island, which is one of the great theme parks, regional theme parks in the world. I can say that because I worked there for many, many years, and as did many of the people now at Entertainment Junction. That's why, if you know Kings Island, you know about quality, friendliness, guest service, delivery on the experience, and that's what the Kings Island people that now working for Entertainment Junction bring to the party as well. That's really cool, and I have seen a lot of guest surveys over my lifetime, and I've never, ever seen anything like Entertainment Junction. The positive guest reaction is simply incredible. And people, we have a log there that people can sign and leave comments, and they're off the charts. Everybody seems pretty darn happy.
Oh, well, I can understand that, and you do have a lot to offer there.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I would say, a typical family. If you've never been there before, probably it's a 3 to 4 hour experience. Again, some of the grandparents actually want to spend a longer time because they look at every single detail. We also have a museum, historical museum that borders one entire side of the layout. And, of course, they like to go. Much of that is interactive as well, by the way. But they like to read about and look about times that they recall. You know, they themselves might have been a serviceman that came home on a train for Christmas time. I mean, there's a lot of memories there for that generation in trains.
Oh, that's real good. And I'm glad to see you basically, you're teaching the young kids about the way railroading was all through its history.
Yeah, absolutely. We have many school buses do the school tours there, and they usually have teachers or leaders, and they look at the museum, and of course then look at the train layouts and everything, and they learn by seeing all that, and they have a good time doing it. That's important. That helps learning when you're having a good time doing it.
Oh, definitely. That is true.
I'm just curious, what's the price of admission?
There are, of course, always some deals in the marketplace, but basically, the do-it-all ticket, and that means both sides, the train, kids play area, the outdoor rides, whatever's happening in the expo center, and the other side, the Mason Fun House, is $16.95 for adults, and again, it will keep you busy, you and your family busy for quite a long time. If you go on the website, generally there'll be some discounts available, or perhaps there's other discounts in the marketplace. Parking is free, by the way. And,
well, it's obviously it's not Chicago. We charge you 5 times as much to park.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because when we have events which are free in the in our event center and through the Main Street area, people literally can come in, park for free, come in the building for free, and go to the event for free. So, and then, we have an incredible hobby and toy shop. And at Christmas time, people do that. They actually use that as their, Christmas-based hobby and toys for gifts for the kids, particularly trains and Thomas stuff. And so they can just park for free, come in the building, go to the toy and hobby shop and do some Christmas shopping. So that's kind of neat. I mean, to offer that to our visitors.
Looks like I'm going to have to make a visit down there. Cause
I'd love to. Let me know. I'll show you around. We'll give you an under the mountain tour. You can see where all the magic happens. the under the mountain where trains are whizzing all by you and go in one direction, and that's where a lot of the circuitry is. Which, by the way, never really existed when we opened this. So that was all designed again and created by volunteers. It's an incredible operation. It really is.
I admit, I do. Like I say, I am familiar, and I have seen it over the years because I have to go to Cincinnati. That's
great. I hope that's.
No, that's why. No, that's where my wife comes from.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Out at Oakley.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, her mom really captured my heart. She was manager of Buskin Bakery in Norwood.
Oh, goodness. I think I've paid for their Florida vacations occasionally. Amount of times I stopped there for cookies and coffee cakes and donuts.
That is, I can understand that. I really can.
I'm looking at a bag right now, as a matter of fact.
Now you're making me drool. Okay, Bill, could we have the website, please?
Yeah, it's www.entertainmentjunction.com. That trainment is important.
Right.
Because people often refer to it as entertainment junction, and it's not. We're all about trains, so it's entertainment junction.
Yeah, we'll make it like a pirate and put it in the R.
R. That is correct.
We'll definitely put it on our Facebook page so people can.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be great. It's not all that far away, and makes kind of a nice trip in there. As you know, there's other things to do while you're here as well.
Okay, and if you want to inform the people in your area to help maybe listen to this interview,
sure.
Our website actually is www.windycityhometown.com. windycityhometown.com. Mm-hmm.
And so...
Yeah, we're part of a media club that's out of Ridgewood High School in the area here. And we have a number of programs that they run on old-time radio, big band music.
That's great.
And, you could pass the word on to them. You could go ahead and listen and hear some of our past programs, and you can sit there and just shake your head listening to us, quote, experts.
What's wrong with those people?
Yeah, so, that we will. So there's a link or something. You want us to go to the website to this interview, I suppose? Or
it lists all the different programs that are on the network, and you'll see Chicago Junction in there. And then the programs are listed by the broadcast date.
Okay.
And so in about a week or so, this will be up on the computer. But in the meantime, you could listen to some of the earlier broadcasts so you can prepare yourself. There's one gentleman in particular. Make sure you point it out to him. I know one of the volunteers there.
Really?
Frank Kramer.
Okay.
And he's also with the Cincinnati chapter NRHS.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've
I'm
seen
a
'em.
I'm a Chicago Auxiliary member down there so for that. But yeah, tell him about it so that way he can get his people to start listening to the program too.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send a note to the right people that has everybody's email address and get that word out.
Yeah,
Or-
if you're on Facebook too, you can find us. Chicago Junction.
Oh, that's true. Yep. Cool.
That's easy.
That's great.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for calling in. It was a pleasure talking with you, sir.
Well, thank you. You guys are a joy to talk to. I'm glad we have some enthusiasts out there because it really is pretty incredible. By the way, model enthusiasts join a long list of people that are model train enthusiasts that you might not think of, like, let's see, who else? Well, Walt Disney, I guess you would guess he is.
Yeah,
But,
he was.
DiMaggio, Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg, Frank Sinatra. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah,
So,
Sally Jesse Raphael.
Yep.
Even
yep.
Freddie Krueger. Robert Englund is
great,
a
I
garden
think.
scale guy.
That's good. Well, thank you, guys.
Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much, and you have a great day, sir.
You have a great one, too.
And prepare. We're trying to keep some of the snow up here for you before we send it all to you.
Yeah, no, it comes due west. We'll get what you have, 48 hours from now.
Bill, I just want to remind you that our website is www.windycityhometown.com.
Got it.
Thank you for spending part of your evening with us, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You all have a good night. Better tomorrow.
You too, sir.
Thank you.
First prize, 1 week in Cincinnati. Second prize,
2 weeks.
in Cincinnati.
He obviously was a long-distance caller because tomorrow is not going to be a good day in Chicago with 8 inches of snow.
Oh, it's going to be a great.
Oh,
it's going to be a great
8
day.
inches. You're talking. That's why by the end of the day.
No, sir, by 7 a.m.
Yeah, we laugh at snow.
No. One thing pulled up. They have regular events all year round, and they got some really interesting ones. What Thomas Days are from February 1st to the 28th. Homeschool Days on the 12th and 16th. Madness in March. Let's see. Scale Model Expo in March. Oh, no, this one would be interesting.
Road trip?
Yeah, this is a road trip. Come see the operating steam and gas engines, 1/6 scale figures, dioramas, live steam, models of boats, planes, military items, and more. Free to the public on Saturday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, March 4th, noon to 4 p.m.
Well, that's coming up real soon.
Yes, it is. That'll be next month. Got spring celebrations, 40th annual Dollhouse and Miniature Show, American Heritage Girls, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scout Weekend in April. Bring a friend free. Wanna go? Summer fun.
You'll have to talk to Blanche about that.
Christmas in July. Everything Thomas, bring a friend free, a second one. Jack-o'-lantern Junction at the end of, from beginning of October to Halloween. Another bring a friend free, and then Christmas at the Junction in December. So this,
No, the wife and I were talking about relocating today, and we were thinking of different cities. Now, I had gotten a job offer in Cincinnati once teaching, and we went there and really liked it. It's a very nice town. And then across the river, there's sort of a companion city in Kentucky, very nice.
oh, you got Covington and
Yeah,
Newport.
Covington, yeah, very nice area.
In fact, they've done a lot and cleaned that area
Yeah,
up.
right.
And they even got an aquarium there now.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well, let me talk a little bit about my new
does
project.
Mr. Walrus does work weekends as the conductor?
Okay, my new thing. This is something I thought of some time ago, and I had to actually approach my alderman about the idea, but he did not respond back to me. But I would like to see the city of Chicago have an official month recognizing railroad history. Now, in 1848, the first train ran from on the Galena and Chicago Union from was it Canal Street west to the Des Plaines River, and took the official date was in November. They took some dignitaries out and brought a farmer back with some sacks of grain, but they didn't charge him any money. So I thought November, but other people have said, well, October they actually ran some trains, some test trains out there. So I'm not really set on a month, but I would like to see a month of recognition, not a day, not a week. I'd like to see a month, and I have set out 4 goals for this. Number one is to identify and contact interested individuals and organizations to serve in an advisory capacity. Number 2 would be to engage in outreach to various history and civic groups to solicit ideas for activities and build momentum to achieve the goal of Chicago Railroad History Month. 3 would be create an organizational structure to promote and support the idea. And number 4 would be outreach to the general public to encourage interest in the idea and express support for signing our petition at, and I have an online petition at ipetitions.com, and it's kind of a lengthy URL. It's ipetitions.com/petition/declare November Chicago Railroad History Month. Now, I have a feeling that if you just type in Chicago Railroad History Month in search, that would probably come up. So at this point, I'm, trying to get people to sign a petition. I'm going to start contacting people to serve on an advisory committee, and send out some publicity, some notices to different media outlets as to the idea and why we should do it. The last real good big celebration for Chicago railroads was in 1948, the 100th anniversary of the Pioneer locomotive leaving Canal Street to go west, and it was the Chicago Railroad Fair.
That's right.
An extravaganza, a huge, along the lakefront where the World Fair had been. I think almost every major railroad in the country participated. They had exhibitions. They actually had a theatrical production that took place along the lakefront, and it was a big deal. And it actually was more or less the swan song for the railroads in this country, because beyond that, the passenger service business started to drop off. The railroads started to have problems. They had been beat to death during the war, and they did not have the money to fix them back up again. And the bankruptcy started, and the mergers started, and it took a long time for the railroads to rebound, but they have. We have fewer railroads now. There are now a lot of big operators out there. But, the railroads still are a vital part of this nation's transportation system, and also a very important part of the Chicago's economic history and economic well-being. Without the railroads, things would be difficult. And the city, the Create people trying to reconfigure the rail system to be more efficient around the city, it's critical, because it won't take long before the railroads find someplace else to go that isn't too hard to get through. So that would affect us economically.
It would, definitely.
So please support me.
No, it is a good idea. And
yeah, to me it was, the recognition would be important. Just proclaim a month, Chicago Railroad History Month. It doesn't cost the city anything. I'm not asking them to put out money to do this. And then once there's an official month, then other organizations can tailor activities and things around that. concept. You know,
Yeah.
There's a lot of different groups out there that would benefit from something like this.
I mean, you know, you're talking about the big things like IRM.
Well, Chicago
or
History
the
Museum,
museum,
the Pullman Porters people.
The Pullman Porters and Museum down there.
Historic Pullman Foundation,
Yeah.
National Monument.
You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm not too sure about the Science and Industry Museum.
Well, that would be an interesting thing too, because they
Yes,
do
it
have a
would.
couple very good. Hey, go see the railroad there.
Yes.
Go see the model train exhibit. I mean,
They,
it's
they
great.
still do have 4 or 5 old railroad engines.
Well, they've got the Zephyr. They've got the
Zephyr buried.
yeah.
Uh,
They got rid of a lot of the stack exhibits, like that the backhead for the steam locomotive. That went somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, that went to San Francisco. The Mississippi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sold the Mississippi.
Right.
Basically, IC number 1.
Did they have the 999 there? Is
It's
that
still there.
999 still there.
Yeah, my grandkids crawled all over it the day after Thanksgiving.
That's still there, but the John Stevens is gone.
Right.
There's an old Chicago Surface Line trolley car there.
The Omni, the horse-drawn, is gone.
Yeah. No, did that?
That was one of the 5.
Now the Chicago History Museum has. They have the Pioneer.
They got the Pioneer because Science and Industry Museum had no place to put it.
Right. Well,
And they also have one of the early coaches from the L,
yeah, they have an L train there. Yeah.
or one that used to be a steam coach.
No, it was actually one of the first ones that was electrified.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they may have electrified those steam coaches as well. So I think it was car number 1, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there's a lot of potential there for.
I mean, we got a lot of places we can go and visit,
right.
and because at least like the Northern that was at the Science and Industry Museum, that's out at the IRM, and and they've got a good selection of historic engines.
Right. Yeah, the other thing too is that it would be an ideal situation for organizations that have active steam locomotives to bring something to town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be doing a lot of outreach to
like Fort Wayne.
Right. I'll be doing outreach to those people as well. And really, all I want people to do is endorse the idea. Just give me a letter of endorsement. Yeah, we're all for this. We'll participate if this happens in some fashion.
Who knows? Maybe we can get the couple of the remanufacturers that are around the area.
Right. And I'm
like Dixmoor.
And I would like to, outreach to the American Association of Railroads.
Yeah.
Say, hey, this is an opportunity for the railroads to do some publicity, which they do a horrible job of these days. People look at railroads as a nuisance. Oh, I got caught at the crossing again. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, well,
that way we can get Operation Lifesaver
Right.
involved with it.
Right. So yeah, I will hope that this flies. Are we getting close to?
Yes.
Can I get a quick plug in?
Yes, you can plug it in
All
all
right.
you want. Make sure it's the right way in the outlet.
Yeah. June 2nd, which is the first Saturday in June, the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club will be conducting the Railroading Merit Badge Clinic for any Boy Scouts in the Chicago area. And if anyone is interested, they can contact the club through our website, which is clrctrains.com. It's a great opportunity for any Boy Scout to learn a good deal about railroading. Brian will be presenting the Operation Lifesaver portion again.
Well, that's worth the price of the ticket right there.
But this event tends to fill in quickly, so if you're interested, shoot that email as quickly as you can. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Put me on the spot, did you?
I'd rather have somebody I know who's going to do it and do it well.
All right. Well,
I hear voices in the background.
I do too.
What's going on back there?
He's trying to say it's time to.
Gremlins is.
It's not in my head, I hope.
I guess it's going to be time for us to say goodbye.
I hear the voices, and they don't like you.
Story of my life.
So after
There's that theme music.
yes, it is. Well, people, we are coming to the end of our journey. Our train will slowly pull into the station. Please collect all your baggage.
And your children.
Well, definitely children. Please don't leave them. They don't give good trade-ins. We want to thank you for joining us on our journey through the wonderful world of trains. Chicago Junction is a production of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and can be listened to on the web at www.windycityhometown.com, where you can listen to tonight's broadcast and all our past episodes to sample some of the other programs and also sample some of the other programs that are being offered. Paranormal on the radio is an interesting experience. I'm your announcer, Brian Valou, and from Dave and Kevin, we'll journey and see you next month. Happy rails to you. We will come up with the song right.
You have been listening to Chicago Junction on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Nords and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Monday, February the 12th, year 2018. Chicago Junction was produced by Jack Ryan, directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to radio station manager Kevin Zeflik of WRHS FM Nords and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Thursday, February the 8th, the year 2018. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norridge, Illinois.